Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Ideas Sin. My name is Denise, and I am your host today. I'm really excited to introduce Steve, who I met through our pool league here in Austin. So, Steve, how you doing today?
I'm doing fabulous. How are you doing, Denise?
I'm good. I got a lot of energy going. I just got a lot of movement today. So far, so
Rolling into
good.
the thing, yeah.
All right. Yeah. And so, I mean, you and we met through Pool League, and I had only recently joined since I had moved to Austin, which was like about 2.5 years ago. So I think I've been with the league for about a year and a half now. How long have you been playing pool for?
I've been playing pool since I was about 16 years old.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's been a long
that's
time. I'm old.
awesome.
So. Yeah, I started at the University of Arizona. I had an internship working there, and I found my way to that pool hall at the student union and just fell in love. And then I started at the university the next year and pretty much ditched most of my classes to play pool. It became a thing for about 2 years. It was about all I did. So
Yeah. And what were you going to school for?
I was taking engineering, computer science, and didn't really care for it. They weren't teaching anything. I could teach most of the classes I was taking, so I didn't bother to attend them. I just ditched and went to the pool hall and learned how to do real things in life. So
Yeah.
pool's been my greatest teacher. It's a university for me in itself, though. It keeps me alive. You know, this first couple of years were really fun because everything's new and you don't really know what you're doing. It's just kind of for fun. And then you look back later and you realize that it was a really good investment in yourself and time in yourself. It's a good social skill. It's a great challenge yourself and find peace in yourself kind of skill. And yeah, you can always play pool, it seems like to me. And it's one of my greatest teachers for sure. So.
Yeah. No, and that's really true. I feel like I've gone through the same avenue as
What
well.
brought
It's
you to
just
pool?
I always think about that. I'm like, when's the first time I actually played pool? And I just remember just going in high school and playing a few times, but I didn't know what I was doing. I was
Right.
just like shooting the shit, hitting the ball as hard as possible because I thought that's what you were
That's
supposed to
what you do,
do.
right?
Yeah. And you hope for the best, hope it goes in the pocket. And I don't know. Yeah. I
That's
just
funny.
continued to play it. For some reason, it's the same thing. Like you said, it pulled me in for whatever reason. And maybe it was the social aspect, but I think kind of more of the intellectual challenge
Mm,
because I mean, a lot of it you're thinking of like, how do I execute the shot? What's the strategy of this? And it
right.
took me years before I even started thinking that way. But there was something else about it that like the finesse
Yeah, the
playing
beauty of
pool.
it, just the perfect of a roll and an angle. See, to me, there's two sides of pool. There's chess,
Mhm.
which is the planning of the pool, where you're putting the cue ball for your next shot and getting through the whole table. And then there's the shot. And I'm all about the shot. I'm a shooter. When I started at the university, I played with this kid, Vince, who was a beast. In 3 months, he was running tables, breaking and running tables. And he was so
Nice.
good. And so I would just rack for him, sit back and watch him play. And then I realized I was leaning against a snooker table. So I would just take the extra balls from the 9-ball rack and I'd play snooker and shoot fireballs in, full size balls on a little pocket while he was
Nice.
practicing. So I learned to shoot just straight in and just straight in. And it just stuck with me is that simple geometry of math and then the spin and throw is always so fascinating too. You know, it's a good exercise for your brain to calculate. But the chess side is still my hard part.
Yeah, it is, right? Because then it's like, okay, you have to also observe your opponent and you have to start thinking about the probability of, okay, if I make this shot, what is my next shot? But then if I miss,
What am I
where
leaving them?
can I leave it?
Right. What am I
Yeah.
leaving them? And, you know, it's that journey still going on for me now after it's been 38 years, I think. That journey is still going on for me. It's like I'm playing one pocket pool now, which is brutal. Each
Mm.
person gets one pocket at the back of the table. And you're doing everything you can to not leave the opponent a shot. You making a shot is almost irrelevant. You just don't want to leave them a shot. It's pretty funny. So it's a whole backwards thing, and it teaches you this whole different patience to just wait and play your game. And you know, I'm always looking for things in life that teach me patience because I'm real hyper ADD and my brain moves super quick. So I just like to jump. and jump and jump. So the more I can stay with something and just think about it, and not even think about it, just be with it. It's a different thing. If I think, I get in my head and I become a little child again, and I don't know what to do, and then you do stuff, right? But if you don't
Yep.
think, and you just kind of trust yourself that I've shot 1,000,000 pool balls at this point in my life. I'm sure of it. And, I shoot about 1,000 a week almost. And it's
Yeah.
kind of crazy, but I know them, but I don't. I can still make the most fragile, simple mistake without any warning, just because your brain gets involved and thinks, oh, well, what if this? Or, and then you go and a crash, come on down.
Yeah.
My pool experience first started, like you were saying, your first game in high school. Mine was on my grandfather's, which he built a
Okay.
pool table in his basement in Wisconsin. And it was beautiful. He was an ornate craftsman, and he was a master carpenter. And so he took me down there to play one time. He basically handed me a cue. He made most of his balls. He goes, "Oh, your turn." Didn't tell me what to do. Didn't do anything.
Figure it out.
I swung at it. He goes, "You don't know what you're doing. Get out of here." That was it.
That's it. That was your
So,
intro.
yeah, it was
Oh
very
my
not
gosh.
welcoming. So I had to overcome that a little bit. Maybe that's why I didn't find one until later. But as soon as I
Aw.
did, it's all right. They're gruff Germans. That's what the lineage they came from. That's
Oh, really?
you just go learn this on your own. I don't know how that is for you, but I like learning things on my own. I don't want an instruction manual until way after. And like when I
Yeah.
learned guitar, I didn't take lessons. I just listened, and I wanted to listen to what was in my head I wanted to do, and I just do that. And like with pool, you can see what you need to do a lot of times. I just want to learn how to do that. And it's weird. It's a different way of learning, because you can go through book after book that gives you, practice these shots, do these things. And it depends on your personality type of how you take that in. I see a
Yeah.
lot of pool players spend most of their life in kind of this, they get good in a league and good in the range, but then the next step up is really difficult. And then to like a semi-pro, and then to a pro is exceedingly ridiculously difficult. And it's fascinating. I've pushed myself into a semi-pro area over the last couple of years, and I don't know how much further I can push, but I'm sure trying. That's why my living room is a pool table. So
I know, right? I love it. I mean, would you say that trying to get over that hump is more of a mental game, or do you think it's more like physical, as in like you really have to work on like the physical, again, the finesse of
right.
making these shots, or is it more strategy, or do you think that it kind of varies person to person?
I think it varies person to person. And my personal goal has always been, since I've been 18 years old, I think I learned every shot I needed to know. But my head gets scared. I get competing with somebody, I get scared of them, or I think and I miss. And so it's all mental for me. That's the whole game. And so this has been like like the last couple of years have been real focused psychology on the mental side of pool, like reading books on the mental game of pool and how to keep yourself in the game and not get scared. And if you miss a shot, to not let your past or your history destroy you, right? You can miss a shot and you're down. You could just come on down, or you can miss a shot, go, yeah, whatever, and come right back at that table again, and that's up to you. And it's that mental thing. It's like practiced yoga. You get to the table with your cue and your rhythm and your timing's all in your body. It's no mind. And it's just your body flows into the table, and it's like a stretch. It feels good, and you're down, and you just kind of have to enjoy that. And then you're going to make
Yeah.
balls like crazy, because it's actually a pretty easy game at that point, but it's not when your mind's not. Do you feel like it's mental for you?
Yeah. I mean, when I approach the table, it's like the rest of the world zooms out. I've just gotten to that point where it's like, okay, I'm just hyper focused on the table and the game, and everything else zooms out. And then I'll look at it, I'll assess it, and I'll think about, okay, what's the strategy here? What's the best move? What can I execute? What am I good at executing? Just because I can execute it doesn't mean it's going to be successful, you know?
Well, but if you know you can do it
So,
and you're not setting a stage for failure, right? Like Shane
yeah.
Van Boening, one of the best pool players in the world, uh, has hearing aids, and he's pretty deaf, and he turns
Oh,
them
he
off for his
is.
matches. So he
I
takes,
mean, I would too.
yeah. Well, you see a lot of people playing headphones or put earbuds in and
Yeah.
crank music so they can't hear anything because they're doing it. You want the world to just kind of fade away. And so he does that. And even the timers, when they're playing on like 45-second shot clocks, he ignores them because he knows his time and he knows his rhythm, but he doesn't have to hear
Yeah.
that annoying beep beep in the background that will jump you out of your skin. So it's kind of an
Yeah.
interesting thing. But in tournaments, a lot of times they don't allow headphones anymore.
Mm,
And so you can't really
okay.
block out the world. And so one of the challenges for a lot of people, myself included, is to not be distracted.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy to get distracted, especially in a pool hall with 100 people in it and they're all friends, you know them all. And, it's like, hey,
Yep.
what up?
No, exactly. I feel like that's how I am sometimes when I play is like, yeah, I get to know people, I get to talk to people, and I try to be friendly and get to know them. But
Yeah,
at the same time, it's like, okay, I think I've gotten to that point where it's like, if I need to hyper focus, it's like the rest of the world is gone. Like
shuts
the
out.
noises, stuff like that is not necessarily hyper distracting for me. Sometimes
Mhm.
I'll tune into the music and then I'll just kind of like sing and like do my little bop to the music as I go to shoot. So it's almost like I just tune into the right noises, if that makes
Frequencies.
sense,
Yeah, you
and then
pick the
get
frequency.
into flow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a super super deep insight there because
Mm.
there's something about that. Like if my brain has words, I don't play pool well. But if I listen to lyrics of a song I know and I sing along with the song, I'll play great pool because
Yeah.
it takes that part, that frontal guy that's the worry wart, the maker, the socializer, the Facebook, the it takes
The
him and shuts
Facebook.
him up. It gives him something to do. It's like, here, kid, have a
Yeah.
candy cane, and then you go do the thing you want, and it's really important. It's easy to forget that though. I've watched you play, and you do focus down and you kind of disappear and you kind of get into your rhythm with it, which is great. And like I played last night too, and broke and ran out of table, and on a friend of mine, I always say like,
Nice.
point at the table, you're like, if this is friends outside the table and on the table, it's kind of like no.
Yeah.
So she's like, "Were you mad?" I'm like, "No, I just went and did exactly what I needed to
Yeah.
do. I'm just here to do my job." It's like shut the world out and then just play pool. It's weird, I've always wrestled with that because I'm very emotional and kind of I love fun and just being playful and fun, and so I don't really want to chill out and be all somber and serious, right?
Yeah.
But you watch almost all of the pros, and they always are. They're just like reptiles. They just
Mm.
sit with chiseled jaws and just shoot. No emotion ever cracks through.
Yeah,
And I wonder if there's
mechanical.
something to that. Is that necessary, do you think?
I don't know.
No.
Yeah, and I was just wondering, I was like, is that primarily true for all professionals, or would you say it's more of like the males that end up doing that? Like, have you seen females also get very
Oh, the
stoic and
females are
robotic?
downright serious. Yeah, very much
Yeah.
so. Very much so. You rarely
Okay.
see social. I mean, like I used to watch soccer players. I hung out with a soccer team, and they were all pretty semi-pro, really good guys. But they're sitting on the sideline drinking beer and joking off, and they're like, "Oh, I'm in," and then they
I
go in and
know,
they're
right?
dead serious, right? But it's like
Yeah.
they have that moment in between. But like, fool, a lot of times when they get that serious, they just sit on the side and it's just sit, look. I'm like, if that's what it is, I don't really want that. Because I like people, man. I
Yeah.
like people, and I like the social aspect of the sport too. So, yeah, it's an interesting game. Huh.
Yeah, it is. It's really nice too. I mean, one of the points that we had just talked about, well, what you had just noted, your friends outside of the table, but as soon as you're on the table, it's like, all right, you type of thing. Like
Yeah,
I'm
right.
playing, right? I know I finally got to use the button.
Yes.
Um, yes. But I think that that's just in so many different sports is everybody gets so competitive that they target their anger and like this I don't know. Yeah, it's like their anger towards this person. And I know that when I used to play and when I was initially starting to play, it's like I would play, but if I mess up or the other person wins, like I would get pissed off at them. And I'm like, "Ugh, I don't want to fucking talk to you anymore." But then over time, it's like I talked to other people and I opened up to, say like, hey, I'm obviously not a pro. I'm not going to be performing at a pro level because I'm not putting in the time. And so they told me that mindset of it's not you when you're playing pool, it's not you and your competitor. It's like you and the table. Because you can walk away, but at the end of the day, like whatever's on the table, that is your challenge. That's what you have to face, not the competitor. The
Yeah, you are
competitor is
your
not at the
competitor.
table.
Yes, you are
Yeah.
your competitor, and very few people realize that. They're like, "Oh my gosh, I got to play XYZ." I'm like, so If you get a shot
Yeah.
and you're at the table, it's you on you. It's you against you. And it's you to keep your
Yeah.
mind and your flow good and and keep your business going and keep it straight. Yeah, for sure. It's that moment to
Mhm.
choose what you want to do. And see, I think um, like emotional and ADD kind of people, kind of like me, are more like apologetic and we feel bad if we win,
Mm.
kind of, or more like trying to be people pleasing in the thing. And that affects me a lot. And you said, people pouring their competitive energy into it. And I never really have. I just enjoy the
Mm.
shots. I just like watching shots. I could spend 10 hours sitting in here putting 15 balls up and banking, just taking bank shot after bank shot. It's so beautiful to
Yeah.
watch them. And when you hit them precise, they just roll in and it's so much fun. But
Yeah.
that's not competition. If I bring myself to like, I gotta crush this guy, it's like I'm in trouble because I get too emotional, too fired
Mm.
up, and then you start cavemanning and your muscles are tense and nothing works, right? It's like that doesn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah, nerves are weird. When you get nervous, it's a very strange thing. It's like stage fright in music too. It's like
Mhm.
I played guitar on stage since I'm 15 years old, so I can walk on any stage. It doesn't matter. But
Yeah.
I wrote a song when I was 42, my first lyrics, and I wanted to sing it.
Oh,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh, you talk about a panic moment? I sat in front of these. I went out to an open mic with my guitar and sit down. There's like 20 guitar players all waiting for their turn at the open mic, and they don't care one bit for me, but it doesn't matter, right?
Mhm.
They're just there for their turn. And I'm like looking out, and I'm so nervous I couldn't even start. And I told them, I'm like,
Really?
all right, I'm going to picture you all in your underwear. That way you feel as funny as I feel right now. And they all laughed.
Does
I'm
it
like,
actually help?
it laughed and it helped. And it took 4 years before I got any appreciable improvement in my amount of stage fright from singing.
Hmm.
And I pushed
Okay.
through it. But I think there's a lot better ways. There's something about engaging that competitive spirit or engaging this thing of like, I'm right. This is what I'm here to do. Right? It's
Mhm.
like, it's really difficult though, because I don't know. Every time I engage that, I feel like it's too much or something, or I'm being braggish, or right.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah, because some people do come off like that they're just like, "Yeah, I'm the fucking shit," and it's just like, "Relax, bro."
I tell
Like,
you what, yeah.
okay.
And then some of them aren't even
Relax.
good, but they still will whoop your butt in pool because they have that attitude. They're unfazed.
Yeah.
They're unchecked. They're like, and like you said about pros, like I'm not a pro. I'm not going to put in the time to be a pro. And you know, you can take it all very seriously, but you look around, there's no cameras because nobody's really that good that warrants cameras to be there. So you just chill out and play your game. It's really the answer. But, man, they take it
Yeah.
seriously. This is a very serious sport, and it's changed. When I started pool, it was all about gambling. All about gambling. I mean, I'd make $300 to $600 a week gambling on the students
That's
in the
awesome.
union, and I'd just clean them up. And it was very mean, I guess, in retrospect. But nowadays,
Yeah, I
people
mean,
don't gamble like that. There's not pool halls are not like filled with cigarette smoke and all these old sharks in suits and stuff. It's like it's just people want to have more of a good time. So the sport has evolved a bit,
yeah.
but the competitive nature is still there. The
Yeah,
stuff I'm doing
definitely.
with the psychology work I've been doing is I'm doing emotional freedom technique (EFT), where
Okay.
you actually find these things that trigger you to be nervous, and you trigger yourself intentionally. You get yourself all worked up, and then you give yourself these phrases while you're tapping specific parts of your body. And it's
Okay.
what it's doing is it confuses your adrenaline system, which is in fight or flight mode. When you get nervous, you're in fight or flight. And so you get all this adrenaline through your body, which makes your muscles go tense because you're ready to fight, right?
Yeah.
And so you need to get that back out. And so you can break that pattern, and they do this for PTSD too, but you can break that
Mhm.
pattern with tapping, just alternate side tapping of your body and thinking about the thing that's bugging you. And it allows your brain to find a new pathway to not necessarily assert a bunch of adrenaline next time. So you're not
Hmm.
quite as nervous the next time, and the next time a little less, and a little less. So over the last couple of years, I've come down to where I don't really react to a lot of things.
That's good.
It's good. And I think in a way it makes me more like it was last night, which is like the pros I'm complaining about a little bit more. Get the job done. I'm
Yeah.
out of here. And I want to be goofy and have fun, but I don't want
Yeah.
to get nervous. So
So wait, have you done that prior to playing pool? I mean, like right before a
No.
match, are you just like, okay, I'm feeling nervous, and then you just a certain spot to start tapping, and then you maybe just tap while you're
Oh
playing
yeah,
pool
and
or
I
right
just sit there
before?
and breathe. I just focus my breath. It's like a meditation. I breathe and I walk.
Mm.
So you're alternating your feet and you're tapping. I just go walk down the block and back. If I get nervous, just take a second, go wash your face, touch your hands, just put yourself back in real. And yeah, that
Yeah.
was my counselor that suggested that a couple of years ago. We started doing some tapping stuff on that. It's been very fascinating. I can't say that I do enough work as much as I should, maybe. But the work I've done has really paid off. It's been really nice. I'm a different human being now. I approach things, especially a pool table. And pool's been this teacher, because pool doesn't have any forgiveness. There's no forgiveness in pool. You don't go,
Yeah.
oh, I missed that shot, but I could have made it. Let me set it back up and do it again. Right.
Mhm.
And, I'm a programmer for work. So I write code. If I mess up a line, who cares? Back up, change the line, move on. Right. But
Yeah,
pool, for
exactly.
a long time, taught me you can't be wrong. You can't be wrong. Drive on. Be perfect. Just do it
Yeah.
perfectly. And it's like, and it, in a way that kind of affected other things in my life where it made me not want to try things as much because I'm afraid I can't do them perfectly. And you get
Mm.
afraid of making mistakes because they're costly. And so now I'm trying to undo that and not really care about it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
releasing that expectation.
Yeah.
It helps a lot. I
Yeah.
feel like I got into that point with pool as well where I'm just like, okay, this is just like another person that I'm playing. Like I don't really bother to ask. Well, when I was playing, I didn't really bother to ask like what's the score every time that I would have league night, It's just like I would just show up and be like, "Okay, yeah, I'm playing this guy and blah blah blah." And
Yeah,
every
just
once in
point
a
me
while
to a
I tune
table and
in
I'll
and
play.
yeah, exactly. It's just like, okay, I'm just releasing expectations. This is for me, I got into that mindset of this is just another game and I'm going to play this game and then there's going to be another game in the future and then another one and another one. And if not, it's like it's just one moment in time in my life and I don't have anything really intense riding on this game. So I'm just here to have fun and shoot the shit with people and maybe learn something new is okay, how is it that they shoot? Okay, that's interesting. Or, monitoring their techniques, what are their strengths, their weaknesses,
Yeah.
and just kind of let go of the previous shots and the moments.
Yeah. No
One piece
history.
of
No history. A blank slate
exactly.
is super important. Yeah.
Yeah, and a friend of mine, also named Steve, actually, a few years ago had said to me after I missed a very difficult shot, he came up to me and was like, I don't know why you're upset. You're not good enough to make that shot. And I got so pissed off. Right? Okay, yes. That
I
you
take
hear that,
issue with
right?
that, but okay, go ahead.
I got so pissed off at him and I was just like, whatever, I'm not talking to you. Like, get out of my face type of thing. And then afterwards, I had calmed down and he's just like, look, what I meant by that is an extremely difficult shot. And you don't sit down, like, you don't go and practice that shot every day. So the likelihood of you actually making that shot is proportionately low, in comparison to if you were sitting there setting up that shot every single day and practicing it, then I'd be like, dude, you should have made that shot. Like you're practicing that all the time, then it's like that. But
Right.
the fact that such a rare shot came up and then you got so upset for missing it, it's like you can't get upset by something like that. It's like you're setting yourself up for failure in a sense. Um,
Yeah,
so
getting
after he
upset
had
about
said that, it's like, yeah.
yeah, one of the best pieces of advice I ever heard about something when you do something wrong that you think you could have done right, just say, "Wow, I wonder how I could have done that differently." Instead of getting upset and shutting a door, you open a door with wonder, and you open yourself to the possibility that you could have done it. You just might need to learn a little thing. And I'll counter Steve's argument back to
Yeah.
Steve on Steve here,
Steve
SOS.
on Steve.
So in pool, you have a cue ball hitting another ball, and there's only so many angles you can hit a ball. So we just take one side of a ball. So I can hit this cue ball from here, 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 right? Halfway through, and I can bisect it in any of these angles. And it doesn't matter if it's a bank shot, a straight shot, any shot, right? You're going to cut a ball. You're applying one ball, one angle, and speed. So you really only have speed to worry about and the angle. And we all know those angles. Yes, you haven't practiced that, but you've probably shot a shot just like it before. Like if you take a really weird, like feels like a hard cut and you put that to the side pocket, most people go, it's gross. They'd be scared
I
of it, never take
know.
it.
Yeah.
You turn that same angle toward a corner pocket, people go, I can make that ball.
Mhm.
It's psychology of it. It's our thing. And I had a big aha moment. That was about 8 years ago playing in league. I just went, I've shot probably every shot I'm ever going to shoot on a table. I've shot so many balls. Like, there's no way I'm going to see a new shot, a new angle, because
Mhm.
there's only so many degrees between half the ball and none of the ball, right? so,
Yeah.
so like that was a huge realization for me because now I line up on a ball, I'm like, it's that angle. There's your angle. Shoot. It doesn't matter,
Mhm.
right? And that increased my ball pocketing by massive amounts. Just my confidence that came with that, not the
Yeah.
practice, the confidence and knowing you've shot a shot like that before. Sometimes you got to give yourself that booster, maybe, and that's what your teammates and friends should be doing, though. You know, you get that thing where you miss a pull shot, and they're like, "Oh, Steve," you know, like the really important shot in the match, and you lose the
Yeah.
match. They're like, "Oh," and they're scolding you like, "Wait, how
Yeah.
about? Oh, bummer, man, I'd have probably missed that too." How
Mhm.
about we do this in love instead of like, because it is just a Monday night or a Wednesday night at a pool hall in the middle of
Yeah.
nowhere. It's not going to matter to anything.
I know. And for us, and we were always giving each other shit, and that was like a Friday night after like several glasses of scotch. So I was definitely more like, oh, I should be making all my shots and everything like that.
Well,
But
it's
I
just like,
mean,
oh, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, like, I definitely understand where you're coming from. I was kind of training a little bit with another guy who's ranked at he was like over 700 or something in BCA.
Was that Weeble House?
No, no, no. This
No.
was in Boston.
Oh, cool.
And, yeah, he was telling me, as far as cutting is concerned, because a lot of people are always afraid of cut shots. They're like, "Oh, I don't know," and this and that, and he just kind of explained it in such a way that I was just like, "Oh, yeah, why should I be scared of making a cut shot? If I can picture that cut shot going into this pocket or the side pocket or this and that, it's like the same thing."
Mm-hmm.
Similar to what you're saying is you begin to envision that angle and then you just go for it. So now when I see cut shots, I'm always like, "Oh, yeah, I can make that," even though it's like 90 degrees or something. I'm like, I
Yeah, it
just have
doesn't
to cut it a certain way and then
matter.
it'll be fine. But most people are like, oh, I don't know if I want to cut that or try it. And so they'll opt for another shot. But I don't know. I've learned to kind of let go of that stress and that fear of missing because it's just like, fuck it. If it goes in, great. If not,
Yep.
then we'll see how it
Yep,
goes.
and they're all the same shot. They're
Yeah.
all the same shot. And that's the thing. Bank pool teaches you too, because bank pool you use 1, 2, or 3 speeds, and generally center ball
Mhm.
or quarter ball cut either way. And so, like, all your
Yeah.
shots fall in this little nice, neat box. And you watch this. There's this guy, one of the masters of the game. He's passed away, but his name was Eddie Taylor, and he was one of the best bank pool players ever. And there's a video of him. He's 90 something, and he's had a stroke, and his eyes, one eye's going this way, and the other eye's looking forward. And he's sitting there in his suit.
Mhm.
His belly's huge. You can't even bend over the table. He's talking about banking. He grabs a cue, just walks up to the table, half bends over, goes plunk, 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 banks 4 balls in effortlessly, and
Yeah.
just goes, that's enough, and stops. And this guy can't even see. And he's like, it's because it's all
Mhm.
one speed and one shot. I just do it the same way every time. I'm like, oh, yes. Once you learn that, it's like, it's not hard. Pool
Mhm.
is not a hard game. It's the mental part. Again, that's your brain and who you're
Yeah.
playing and who you think you should be versus who you are.
No,
All
it's
these little
true.
games. Yeah.
Yeah. I see like a lot of people, especially, well, I say newbies now, but back in the day I was also a newbie, but I would see people coming in and they get on the table and they get pissed off about playing and I'm like, "When's the last time you played pool?" And they're like, "Oh no, like a year or two ago." And I'm like, "Exactly. So you can't get upset for not playing well and performing well because you don't practice often and that's okay. So just like learn to let that anger and frustration go when you're not performing well." And I
Yeah.
think
It
that
doesn't
goes for a
perform.
lot
It
of
doesn't.
beginners.
Yeah, it doesn't help in anything, not a single thing. But
Mm-mm.
it is kind of like your friends. You have a friend that you go drinking with and you get rowdy, you do all kinds of crazy shit. And then you have a friend that you read books and do intellectual stuff with. And you have
Mhm.
pool companions like that too that'll rib you. They're just like, what the hell were you thinking? Why'd you miss that? Come
Yeah.
on, set that up again. Just do this thing again. And then you got other ones that
Yeah.
are like always just going to battle you. And they get mad at you if you win all the time. And I have to balance that with my friends a lot. A lot of people won't play pool with me anymore.
Oh,
So
really?
I switch and play
Oh,
right-handed with my awkward hand, or I only bank
yeah.
balls. And that's kind of really fun because it's super. I'm going to lose most of my games, but you play a game of 8 ball where I have to
Yeah,
bank
but
it
it's still
with all,
fun.
and they shoot normal, and it's like I'll get one in a while, and it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, you got to have the right chemistry of friends to encourage you and also
Mhm.
discourage you away from superhero stuff. Like my buddy Mike,
Yeah.
he's always like he's my captain on 2 of my teams, and he's always like, "Let's just slow down, be cool and smooth." He's like, "You have this if you have it." And he doesn't ever tell me the score. He knows I don't want to hear the score. I don't want to know. I just know
Yeah.
if I'm playing, I need to win. That's all there is to it. But he's always like that. And he's always just this real fatherly kind of soft advice. And then, Dale's like, "Man, you fired that shot, and that was really cool." It's just
Yeah.
different. But you need all that. You need that feedback.
Yeah.
And you need the loop of like, "That was a really dumb shot, bro." I need
I know. I usually get people that are like, that's like a really difficult shot. Why don't you just try this one that's simple?" And I'm like, "Oh, yeah." But then I'm also like, "Yeah, but I like the challenge. I love trying difficult
that.
shots. Even if it's just out there, I'm like, I want to see if I can do it, like this,
Oh, for
like
sure.
different combos and stuff like that. I'm always like, no, but I want to see if I can do it and make it. That's what I gravitated towards when I first got to the table and looked at the line
Yeah,
of
you were in.
shots available, and it's like, I just wanna do it because it's a
Mhm.
challenge for me, but I also find it fun. It's like the
Right.
challenging shots.
Right. Yeah, that's why I call
Yeah.
that Calvin ball, and I like it. It's just shooting whatever looks
Calvin
fun.
ball.
Yeah, that's why I play
Yeah.
banks like that. And and playing all these things, doing anything that's uncomfortable, looks tough, makes you better at the easy things. Doing the
Mhm.
easy things repeatedly makes you worse at the easy things. It's like if I play a
Mhm.
guitar, if I play a C chord, that's all I play, and just C, G, D, C, G, D, within about a week, that's all I'm going to think. My mind
Yeah.
closes down to this little box, and I'll even start missing those C chords because you're just not pushing your boundaries out. You have to try all the things you don't know. And as you do, then everything you do becomes easier. The stuff you do know becomes easier. Like I learned a bunch of Hindi, and I thought it was going to mess with the Spanish that I speak. And instead, it actually gave my Spanish a nice boost because now I could
Oh,
think in a
really?
triangle. I had 3 reference points. And
Hmm.
things like that help. I always say you can't blow up one side of a balloon. You push air into a balloon, it's good everything. So you learn something about physics, it's going to teach you something about gardening. It's just it all
And
comes
no, it
like that.
does.
You can't not learn as long as you're trying something that you don't know.
Yeah.
And it's fun, and it should be practiced like that. I don't do drills 1,000 times in a ball. It's like I've tried to do that, and I get significantly worse. It's the same thing as playing the C chord over and over. Like I set up dots on my table, put the balls back in the same exact position. And I'm like, okay, ready? Run them out that same exact order, same way. And it's like,
Yeah.
and you're an inch off or 2 inches off, and all of a sudden it's a whole different game. And so
Yep.
you can't really do that. You have to be in that flow of the moment of, I wanted to see that shot. This shot looks good. This is the one I want. And trust yourself and go with it. And that takes that comfort of being uncomfortable, right? It's just going,
Mhm.
yeah, this is tough, but I think I can do it. I'll take my time and stay with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I actually really love that you brought that point up of, you can learn one thing and then it can complement something else. And that's in relation to the title of this podcast, which is Ideas Sin. And part of that, it comes from like three different types of concepts, but one of them is idea synthesis. So the fact that multiple ideas can synthesize together and complement one another in ways that you don't always think about. At
Right.
least that's the inspiration that I got because I do so many different things and I meet so many different people that, you know, everybody is very different. Everything is different. The activities are different. And yet, the primary factor that connects all of you is me. And it's like I've been able to synthesize my experiences with one person to another, share different concepts, educate one person on something else. And then what I love to do typically is like host parties and just bring all my friends together from all these different activities. And I'm like, talk to each other, like you guys would really like this and you're into this and you would love to learn more about that. Like connect, you're not necessarily in the same circle per se, but you have the opportunity to create that circle and to create those relationships when you're put in those situations. It's just being open to listening and talking to other people who aren't in your circle. Just ask a question. Like that's usually how I get to connect with people is just start asking questions.
Yeah, that's a beautiful deep statement. That's a real good formula for life. Just ask questions instead of discard things or judge things or not talk to them or not want to understand them. Just strive to understand a little bit of something else's world, and it
Yeah.
lights up, and all of a sudden you understand things you didn't think you could and you didn't know. And I like people mixing people that don't really have any business together too. It's kind of fun to see what happens.
Yeah, it's
People are really
fun.
civil when they're together. When they get hidden
Yeah.
online and hidden behind the facade of their car, they're really kind of more like an asshole. But in
Yeah.
general, people are like very, it's like you can sit down with somebody that's like a totally opposite political or religious view than you. And if you're open minded, you
Mhm.
can have a really good conversation to learn some things. And it can't ever hurt. It can't ever hurt to
Yeah.
just try that little uncomfort for a minute and see if what you're judging or what you're worried about is real, because it probably is not. Well, with me,
Yeah.
that's what I feel like. I feel like, I don't like to try things sometimes because I'm like, I'd never be good at it. And that's just a really weird phrase because it's like, what does it matter? Like, does it
Mhm.
matter if I'm good at pool or not? And at this point, the answer is absolutely not. But pool has taught me to be a way better musician and a way better
Hmm.
programmer and a way more patient, slowed down, mellow guy in my life because of having it. So each thing's going to teach you
Yeah.
different. It comes in all ways. So.
Yeah, and so for pool, and I love all of that, obviously, like, again, that complement of different activities that you involve in your life and that you expand into. And so for pool, like, how has that influenced your music? Like, do you think that, and now I'm going to get into your brain a little bit, but when you're playing pool, you obviously see a scatter of balls all over the table, and you could potentially start making patterns. Okay, I'm stripes or I'm solid. So you start making the patterns to try to run out and things like that. But do you think that that could have potentially influenced your abilities in playing music or coming up with different types of, I don't know, melodies or songs or different note combinations in any way?
Yeah, absolutely, it does. It does more in the live music performance realm. So what it does
Mm.
is it's really easy to sorry, it's really easy to sit there and pool and like rush into something. Just I know how to do this and do it right. And guitar, I've
Mhm.
been playing guitar longer than I've been playing pool, and so I'm like I know how to do that. And I just you get lazy and you make simple mistakes. And
Yeah.
pool, because it doesn't allow for mistakes, makes you take that second and just go, I got this. I've got this. And once you feel you've got it, and that I take to my code, my programming, and I take it to my music. So I look at my guitar and I can stop and listen to my brain for a second to what it's singing, and then let my fingers play what it's singing, and I can stop and hear it instead of just going to some mechanical thing that's like, oh, it goes like this, it goes like this, right?
Mhm.
Instead, I feel it and I'm part of it, and it's my flow. It's like you said, the world fuzzes around the edges, and now I have a clear mind though that I've trained to be very patient, calm, and clear. And then all of a sudden, you feel like a second is an eternity. So getting to that C chord is
Mhm.
easy because you have all intent, focus, presence of mind. You're beside yourself. You're just there. And it's presence is what it is. And all those tricks, like pool stop me all the tricks. You just walk around the table, you touch the table. And as you're getting down to bridge, you can tap the table or tap your foot. It lets your muscles
Yeah.
relax. Like guitar players make that guitar face. They're doing it to keep this muscle from being tense
Huh.
because it'll tense up and then you're not going to play guitar if you get nervous. So instead, you move it somewhere else in your body. You wiggle your butt, pound your feet on the ground. And a lot of people put it in their face. And it's really
Yeah.
interesting, but it's the same thing. It's just keeping that patience and realizing what it is that's your flow in that moment and how to be your best flow of you, no matter what the thing you're doing, the activity is. I don't know if I'm describing that right, but I think you get it.
No, yeah, no, I think so. I mean, it's funny because I noticed that when I start taking a shot, I start doing that with my fingers. Like I'll line up, and then it's like the one finger just like
Yeah.
moves, and I'm like, I don't know how this habit developed, but it's happening. And then yeah, so it makes sense though because that's like I'm really honing in. I'm really just trying to make sure my arm is loose, and it's like yeah, make sure I have a loose grip on the cue, and then just
Yeah.
kind of go with it. But yeah, every once in a while when I'm like focusing, starting to hyper focus on the shot, that's when I think I notice,
Do you feel
yeah.
like your shot percentage goes up when you're doing that? Because it is focusing your
Huh.
presence. It's pulling you in.
Hmm.
I feel like mine is way higher. It's not
Yeah.
that's causing it. It's that my system's working, and that's
Yeah.
a remnant of it.
Hmm.
I don't know if I was so like I'm in the right flow and everything's doing exactly how I want it to be. So that just does it on
Yeah.
its own. It's not if I try to think, oh, tap your finger, then I'm going to surely miss.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
no, it does it just naturally, just like,
yeah,
okay, yeah,
and
it's
I find that
tabbing.
when I'm doing that, that I'm in my flow. I also get my
Yeah.
nose gets real runny
Oh,
because I'm
okay.
breathing really deep hot air and I'm like full of like a lot of powerful pressure, and like
A
when you
lot of hot air.
yeah, when you feel that energy, like nervousness, this is one of the things I'm working on recently. Is like when you feel nervous, energy is just energy. So nervous could be in love, it could be hate, it could be anger, it could be fear, it could be nervous. It's just how we interpret it. So you
Mhm.
feel these bubbles in your stomach, and you're like, instead of going, "Wow, I'm nervous," you go, "Wow, I'm powerful. I've got a lot of energy right now." Yeah, and you kind
Mhm.
of work with it, and you're asking. So my body gets real hot, and I get a little nervous, but I turn it back into a powerful. And my nose will run. I'll snivel a lot. I'm kind of
Yeah.
like I tense up all my muscles and then let them go to cause myself to
Yeah.
relax. And I just while I'm waiting on the side, that's the best time in pool is like waiting for your next turn to shoot because you can either destroy yourself or you can recreate yourself right there.
Yeah,
Right?
that's
You can
true.
sit and
Yeah.
breathe and go, my next shot. I can't wait till he's done. Let me get back at that table. I'm going to kill this thing. Or you go, I messed
Mhm.
up that shot. I've been shooting bad all night. This hasn't working. I might as well
Mhm.
just go home. It's like you choose. You choose that outcome. And your body will manifest it, though, in quite a bit of ways, is what I find. I might be just
Yeah.
learning this now that I should have learned when I was 10 because I am kind of weird at when I learn things. but
I
but
think
it's profound
everybody
to
in
me, at least
society is.
now. I'm sorry, what was that?
Oh, no, I was gonna say, it feels like everybody in society is still learning these things, like,
Mhm.
I was just kind of explaining this concept to I've explained it to some people, but it's almost like humans, we keep track of the physical development a lot of the times, but we don't keep track of like the emotional, mental, and spiritual development as well. And I
Mm.
feel like a lot of humans have just, yeah, you physically grow, but emotionally, mentally, or spiritually, like we're still in that childlike level or young adult
Yeah,
mentality. Like it's like
yeah.
we're not taught how to continuously evolve to keep track with our physical bodies.
Yeah, there's
And
not good
so
manuals for that, right? There's no good
no,
manuals for
not at all.
yeah, and
So
because I've
yeah.
always worked intellectually, and so my brain has always been the one. That's my payday. It's my brain. I can think something,
Mhm.
I can do it. So I never have any worries about that. But being emotional and being an adult in situations and trying to, it's like I still find myself probably way back in more like 10 years old. Like when I get nervous playing pool or playing guitar, it's like you regress. I think we all have this safe place that we were at one point, and then we demark from it. And so we're normal a day up here, but then we get nervous. I just go right back to that safe place. And for me, it's like
Mm,
this 12-year-old kid that doesn't do things very well. Because
yeah.
right? It's like, because it's all just nervous, not real thought out energy. And that's the choice of that, though. That's the same thing. That's just not emotionally managing yourself and even understanding that your emotions control you. I think for the first
Mhm.
time this year, I realized I'm more emotional than I am intellectual. And I would
Hmm.
have never told you
Oh,
that.
really?
Never said that. I've always thought I like to think about things. I think I'm very emotionally driven. And that's fascinating. That means I get a lot of
Huh.
development to do there because it's an unused
Well,
muscle.
that's an interesting one. So would you say that throughout your life you've been, I guess, less tapped into your emotions? Like you were very like less emotional. You were like, yeah, I don't really process emotions or I don't feel emotions.
They were there
Would
and
you say?
I just didn't acknowledge them. I
Hmm.
didn't acknowledge my actions as being emotional. I was doing irrational and rational things based on my emotions, but I thought they were intellectual choices, but I was being guided by emotions and I was just naming it as intellect. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, now I'm realizing it's like, oh, this is an emotional thing. This has nothing to do with my brain. That's
Yeah.
good.
Well, I
Yeah.
think
Who knows where it goes? We'll see. Maybe I'll be a normal human again someday.
I think you're fine.
Thanks.
I don't think there is such a thing as normal,
Yeah, if you met him, you wouldn't
honestly.
recognize him.
No. We'd be like, "What?"
Are you that boring?
Yeah.
Is that boring?
Yeah, is it boring? Because you sometimes you need those like loud outbursts of expression. Like when you see people at games, like, I'm thinking the soccer game, you see athletes, they're just like so pumped up because they made an amazing shot. And you just see them like screaming and just being like, yeah. And then you see the fans getting all hyped up. And it's like, you need to see that emotion. You have to express that emotion. Otherwise, to your point, a lot of that can stay trapped within you. And then it's like, where is that going? And how is that affecting the decisions in your everyday life? And I
Uh,
really feel like a lot of people are in similar situations and maybe they can glaze over it and put on a good mask to be like, no, 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 I'm good. Like my emotions don't affect me and this and that. But in reality, it is affecting them in some ways. Like they're just running away from the problem. It's just,
it's an
yeah,
elephant in the room that you don't even realize is there. Yeah, that's
yeah.
kind of how I'm getting it now, because I'm kind of having that understanding a lot that all this emotional, irrational based decision making on the cuff and on the fly, real passionate like, and is
Mhm.
not intellect, and it's really my childish body coming at me because it's not trained well to be that, and it's fascinating. That's maybe that's a difference. You look at there's those guys that are in the pool hall, when I use the term guys, whatever, but
Yeah.
they're like, you're not even sure they can read. They're just
Oh,
kind of like thugs. They're like, it's like, and they're
mhm.
just basic human beings, and they're really good at what they do, and they're beasts at pool players because they have no conscience, none whatsoever, and they don't care, and they just come at you, and it's not emotional at all. It's just flat. This is what I do to live, and it's really weird. And then you see the other kind that are emotional, and if you're not checking it, it gets you into trouble. It can come at you, and that makes you nervous or make you wonder about what other people are thinking, and am I enough? What am I missing in my life that I can't do this silly thing? And you can just generate
Yeah.
all this weird energy, and then like in pool was interesting too, because you have like your average player on a
Mhm.
day, if you watch their score over time, they may do this. They may be like stupendously good and then pretty bad. And the range is pretty wide swept. And then
Yeah.
as you get more to a pro, they're more up toward the top and their range is not much at all. Right. And they compress that down into just staying that smoothness. And so I
Mhm.
guess, yeah, that is a good question. Is there emotions in them then? Is there a part of an emotion in a pro? Like, I got a lot of questions to ask people. I'll start with asking you: is there a
Yeah.
lot of emotion in those flat faced pros?
I mean, I would think so. That's the thing. When I feel like a lot of people, they don't realize that anger and aggression is an emotion. And so,
Mm,
with men a lot, it's like that's kind of the thing, to be tough and masculine, like you kind of have to have a little more aggression and it's okay for them to display anger,
hmm.
and they're like, "Oh no, it's fine. They're just a guy." But they're not emotional or anything. And it's like, "No, that is an emotion right there. If they're angry and they're expressing that, that is them emoting. They are expressing some type of emotion."
That's
And so
fascinating.
I think a lot of people have disconnected emotion and like anger or certain types of, again, like masculine dominated like forms of
Yeah,
expression. It's
they don't
it's
think
just
of that as an
weird.
emotion, right? They don't. It's
Yeah.
a way of being. Well, it's like, yeah, it's true. I mean, even guys in the pool hall do that. They hug you. They give you the extra slap on the hug. I mean,
Mhm.
it's like it's an alpha thing almost in a way, and it's like this.
Yeah.
But it is emotional too. At the same, they're trying to show emotion, but they still got to be tough with it, and they still got to be, it's like
Yeah,
can't
exactly.
lose
It's like
face.
you want a hug. Yeah,
Yeah,
you can't lose face. Yeah.
yeah. I've dealt with. I've done a lot of traveling in Asia, and I learned very quickly about losing face. That's a very, very tough subject there. And it's like America, I don't know
Oh.
that affects us as much, but I guess this is a good example of it, right? It's
Mhm.
saving face and being your assertive and aggressive self, and anger. Yeah, forcefulness.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
It is. I think, there's still a lot that we all need to learn how to balance and understand within ourselves. And it's not a bad thing to have anger or aggression. You can use that in a positive way.
Hmm.
It's almost like you can use that towards your passion. You can use that to hyper focus on what it is that you want to do and accomplish.
Yeah.
But again, it's just that we haven't necessarily always been taught how to properly manage that.
Yeah. A
Uh,
purpose driven life to take and redirect that. And it's like I was saying,
mhm,
I'm nervous. No, I'm powerful. I'm angry. No, I'm powerful. I have a lot of energy. Let me manage this
mhm,
properly and use it for good. Right. I'm getting this energy because I need it, but I don't necessarily need to use it as anger. I can use it for all
yeah,
different kind of ways, right? And channel it out. Hmm. That's a
yeah.
good thought.
And so, uh, maybe diverting a little bit. This thought just came to me though. Have you played with your grandfather after that first initial time when he was like, "You don't know what you're doing," and then like kicked you off the table? Did you end up playing with him after you learned a little more?
No, never again. I didn't see him much. He passed away when I was young, and
Oh,
he
okay.
lived. We were in Arizona. He was in Wisconsin, so I really only saw him like 5 times in my life. But yeah, I don't know if I'd want to.
Really?
'Cause I might want to beat him up for doing that. Nobody beats up a little kid like that, but maybe not. Maybe that's just anger. I'm just kidding.
Well, that could be something. I mean, you never know. That could have been that little frustration that you had as a kid to be like, "What do you mean get off the table? Like you didn't give me a chance."
Yep,
Like, do
and
you think
maybe
that
that
that could
actually
have
did great things for me and drove me to
Yeah.
use that energy to go learn. But it I feel like for me, at least, I do a lot of
Mhm.
interpretation in my body, as in that means I'm not enough,
Mm,
and that's a tough feeling. I just feel like, well, I can't do it. I didn't do good. I can't do good by them. And
mhm.
you should take that and redouble yourself and go, hell yeah, I can do that. I'll prove it to them. But then you're kind of marching to prove your point, and that's to me that's equally as bad, right? When you're trying to prove
Yeah.
yourself, it's like you just do what you are. And the times things work best in my life, the time pool works and music works is when I'm just being me. I'm just like, wow, that's what, like you said, that's a shot I want to shoot. I want to shoot it. I want to trust that I can do it. And I feel good in my body right now. And I'm just going to do what I want to do.
Yeah.
Those are my few adult moments
Well, then you're doing great.
I have.
No, I mean, I think a lot of people are like that, that you get stuck in your head and some people are like, I need to prove myself. So I'm going to be a CEO of a company. And then that's all they target. Or it's like, some individuals, if they didn't grow up with money and they struggled with that, it's like, well, I'm going to prove myself and I'm going to make as much money as possible. And I'm going to, or, other examples, it's like, I'm going to work out and like prove to others that I am like, desirable or
Yeah.
whatever. It feels like a lot of people have received some type of interaction with somebody else where it made them feel like they weren't worthy or they weren't good enough. And so they're striving to achieve that.
Wow.
And it's almost like, okay, yeah, you can do that to your point. You can do that to try to get that approval from them or to prove something. But at what point are you going to convert it to just do it for yourself and be like, you know
Right.
what? Yeah, that was something that really bothered me and made me feel insecure. But now it's just a part of who I am. Like maybe I will never be this type of person, or maybe I will never perform to this capability. But at the end of the day, I'm going to end up just doing it for me, not for anybody else. It's
Right.
like, how is it? How is it? And when is it that people can make that transformation, like
Right.
mentally, emotionally, and all of that to really
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a
align?
beautiful transformation. And I still feel like I have to cross a lot of that myself because I do worry about what people think a lot and do that. I feel, some of that goes away. And then I think the next
Mhm.
question that goes with that to me is like, okay, I'm getting pretty good at thing XYZ, whatever, like pool, whatever, guitar. Like, should I do more with it? Should I
Mhm.
be better than I am? Should I try to push myself and go to higher level competitions? Or should I just be happy where I am and just
Mhm.
enjoy that I have this cool lifestyle and play pool? And I wrestle with that a lot. I'll go through seasons where I'll play 5, 6 nights a week of pool at a hall. And then I
Mhm.
go, like now I'm back to playing a lot of guitar. So I just do my 2 league nights and a tournament. But that's still 3 nights a week dedicated to pool,
Yeah.
plus all the time I spend on the table here. So it's a lot of investment. And I don't think I'm ever going
Yeah.
to be a pro player. And so the question is, why would you put that kind of energy into it? You
Yeah.
know, I don't know. It's always, I guess, the basic question is like, if you have a skill, should you keep pushing it? or should you just be
Mhm.
content with what you have and let whatever naturally develop its path, right?
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because I can see that going like two ways as well. Like some people will look at that and be like, well, until you master something, then you're just kind of giving up. You're not really pushing yourself to your ultimate potential and what you could be.
right,
And then others are like, no, that's fine. You go with what feels right and you just navigate towards anything else that may pop up. Yeah, you may just be satisfied with where you are, but maybe you want to divert your attention to some other things. Like I know I'm like that. I don't know that I'll ever be an expert or a master in anything, but it's because it's like, all right, I've put enough energy and focus into this thing to satisfy whatever it was that I needed within me, like intellectually or emotionally or physically, whatever it was. But now I want to go somewhere else. Now I want to learn something else. So it's like figuring out putting together a puzzle.
Mhm.
Like in my head, it's almost like when I go and I explore and I do all these different things, it's almost like I'm building a puzzle for my life. Yeah, one day I'm going to be really working on this corner, or I'm going to work on this pattern and these colors and try to put that stuff together. But then I walk away from the puzzle, come back, and I'm like, ooh, this corner, or oh, I want to build out this line, or I want to do this. It's all connected. It's just that it's different parts of the puzzle. And yeah, we don't know how it connects just yet. That's
Right,
why
because
we're
we
picking
don't
up
know
the
what the big
pieces.
picture is either. That's a good
Yeah.
analogy. Yeah, it's an interesting thing between the thought of like I can or I could. You know,
Mhm.
I challenge myself that I probably could be a pro pool player,
Mhm.
but at the same time, I need to do more of get away from it because I'm doing the same thing, right? I'm digging on that trench, playing the C chord over and over and over. I need to
Mhm.
get to other habits, you know, and it's just a balance in life of what you choose to spend your time on, right? If I did it with 20 other things, it'd probably make my pool even better than that to get away from it a bit and relax. And, you know, it's very fascinating. I don't know. I never know the answers to that.
Yeah.
You know, if you're good at something, should you try to be the best at something? Or should you never even look at that
Yeah.
aim and just let whatever happen, you know? And, I don't know. How do you even know you're good at something?
I know, right? There's just so many people out there that you're like, I don't know what their levels are until you go and actually, like, again, you play league and then it's like, yeah, you can get ranked and this and that, but everybody has off nights. Everybody, you experience those flows. So you're not really always getting an average, I guess,
Right,
of everyone because not everybody on one team is ever playing on a given night unless there's like rotations and all that stuff. But not,
right.
well, we don't need to get into that. But, on average, it's like, well, you're not always playing every single person in the league. So how can you truly know if you are better than every single person?
Right,
You
right.
don't know.
Like, yeah, you could in anything. You could do something that is pretty fabulous, but does that mean
Mhm.
that you could be generally fabulous in that area or whatever? Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Yeah, and you can't
Yeah.
benchmark against other people. It's really, I guess, yourself. It's
Mhm.
your feeling. Am I satisfied with what I'm doing? You know, is there another level for me that I could be trying to reach for and just be satisfied with that? I guess would be probably the best peaceful way to deal with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I think it
Wow.
has to be peaceful. You can't just go. And I did that for a while. You know, it was like 10 years ago when I kind of got. I was out of pool for a little while. I played weekly or once a month kind of thing. But then I really got back to it. It was like in 2012. My buddy got me back into it. Got me to join my first league, and
Yeah.
so I got on. I want a high score. I want to score. I want the highest score in this room. I want to beat
Yeah.
everybody in this room. And I was really competitive for a little while there, and then I realized that it's like there's too many factors involved in that, and that I might not be
Mhm.
great enough to be that, but I might be. But then my mind. So now we're back
Yeah.
full circle. So I started working on my
Well,
mind.
that's awesome.
It's a good journey.
Yeah. No, it is really good. I mean, and to your point, yeah, you can go full circle and it's like, okay, you could be pro, but do you want to be pro? And what are the sacrifices that are going to have to come with
Right,
trying to achieve that?
right.
Because who knows, you might have to cut down on your music a lot and that's something that you genuinely love and enjoy. So is that something you're willing to sacrifice to get to that point? And
Yeah,
then once you're at that point, how long are you going to let that go for? Are you just going to be like, I just want a taste of the top and then I'm good to get off the
Yeah,
elevator.
just a year's fine. That's fine.
Yeah,
Well, I did
just
the same
fun.
thing because I was pro in music for a long time, and I even quit my
Mhm.
job in 2010. I quit my job and sold a house I had, and I bought a recording studio. And I set up and ran a recording studio, and I was in 5
Oh,
bands
nice.
and playing, and I didn't make shit for money, and I ate a lot of ramen noodles because they're cheap. But
Yeah.
I did realize that there is a level that I'm not capable of in music, and that my
Mm.
balance of music for me is it's a meditation for me. It's a ground. It's like just to pick up a guitar and play. It's like the whole world goes like you said. It just fuzzes out. It's gone, and that's beautiful. And that right there is the thing I need. And my brother, on the other hand, who plays guitar, will only play if somebody's listening. he's
Really?
he performs. He's a performer,
Huh,
and
that's
he wants
interesting.
that drama and adrenaline of the performance. I
Mm.
want the introspective thing of it. And see, pool's kind of becoming like that for me too. It's like I'm not really sure I care about these tournaments and keeping on point to win all these balls, but just sitting and shooting,
Yeah.
just enjoying the pastime of that. It's got a lot more allure lately, maybe that's me
Yeah.
relaxing my goals down in my head and my need to be perfect or whatever.
No, yeah, that's great. I mean,
Yeah.
do you ever think you would teach or coach in pool? Maybe that's a good way to stay connected in it, but now it's challenging you in a different perspective because you're like, I have all this knowledge. I love to do this and love to connect
uh,
with people and play and have fun. So, you can always branch out and challenge yourself now to teach and understand your student and develop different forms of,
wow.
yeah, educational techniques in a game that you love. But now it's like, you're passing on the knowledge. Maybe you're at that point where you get to do that.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I kind of do a little bit, but I don't do any formal teaching. And
Mhm.
teaching is always, as you well know, as soon as you teach something, you realize how much you don't know it.
Yeah.
It's like, I can't teach you how I shoot a lot of balls in because I just naturally, instinctively, from 38 years of pounding them in the pockets, I just do it. So I don't really know
Mhm.
exactly what I do. But I will say that my 2 pool teams, um, all of the players on those teams that I play with regularly, they all bank about 1,000% more balls now because I bank all the time.
Mm.
And they've all just become unafraid of banks, and they've all gone like this. They're all just taking on shots and not being
Nice.
afraid of shots. And so I'm kind of manifesting a bit of that and seeing if I can do that softly, because it's fun. It just
Yeah.
challenges them because I don't want them to come up, like I had a guy on one of my teams. He's like, oh, I don't want to practice with you. You'll just win. I'm like,
Oh, see,
ah,
and that's what you gotta get rid of too, is that, like, anytime you're doing an activity or sport or whatever, it's not always about winning or losing, it's just about
right.
learning.
Right, learning and enjoying it. I mean, it's such a beautiful
Yeah.
thing and it's so satisfying to do it. But see, that's when I put myself in tournaments, then I have to win. Right. And so I'm putting on this different
Yeah.
edge, and that's where I'm not as good because I'm like, gotta win instead of just playing what's fun, and doing that. So sticking with Calvin ball is a really
Yeah, I know, right?
good way. But yeah, I've
No.
noticed I have been teaching people a little bit here and there, and it does show up though. It
Mhm.
does show up. I've had people. I'm always meeting people at Betsy's when they come in. Yeah, because I like knowing everybody that's there. I don't like being in a place all the time with people I don't know.
I
And
know.
there's very
Yeah.
few people I just really don't like at Betsy's, which is a really good thing. It
Okay.
speaks well to the business and
Oh,
all
that's
of us
good.
together that we're keeping a good spirit in the place. And so, like, I'm always meeting new people in there, the kind of beginner pool players, like, hey, can you show me some tricks? I'm like, yeah, sure. So we sit down and show them how to bank and teach them how to make some balls. And yeah, it's helpful. It's fun. I don't know if I could teach more than that. That's a good question. It's a good challenge card there. I'll listen
Yeah,
to
and
that one.
sometimes it's like you need a beginner to ask a very basic question to really knock you down to like, "Oh, wait, I'm back to the foundations. How do I explain this? How do I do this again?"
Hmm.
I don't know, I feel
Yeah,
like that
how
can
did I do
help.
that? Yeah, how did I do that? How did I know?
Yeah,
That's a tough
I
question. How
don't
did I
know.
really know that? Is that like a thousand
Mhm.
times experience? Is that just something that came to me? Is that something I read in a book? Do I know it for a fact? If I do it 100 times, is it going to do the same result?
Yeah, exactly.
With me and
Yeah.
my brain, I get bored after the second time. I really,
Mhm.
like playing music. If I play a song, I play it once, like to go record it is a nightmare for me because you have to play it a bunch of times. And to play
Yeah.
it twice back to back, the second time I'll make a ton of mistakes, and the third time will lose all of its feeling. because it just
Mm.
becomes repetition and you're no longer in it. It's
Mhm.
drills, and that's just not why I play music. So I fall apart there. And like
Yeah.
pool, I guess is about the same thing. When it gets intense and you got to do all these drills and play, you have to win. It's like I'd rather go have some fun.
Yeah.
I guess that's good. That's good self advice for myself is
Mm.
be be aware of that because that'll give me more enjoyment from the game. Not
Mhm.
have to be the competitive side of it. So, what
Yeah,
about
and I
you?
think
You're not playing pool right now, are you?
no, I took a little break.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, there was points where I was in like 3 or 4 leagues. This was in Boston. This is before I came over here. And then, yeah, recently I just decided to take a little break because there's other things that I want to pursue, uh, like this podcast, and then just some other creative projects and endeavors. And yeah, so I'm just like, I have my pool cue. I love it. I still love playing and all of that. But I'm just like, I have hit a point where it's like, yes, I love playing when I'm in that moment, but I've lost the drive to be like, yeah, I want to go. Like, I want to
Mhm.
go to the pool hall and I want to stay here. I got to that point where I was like, okay, I got league tonight. All right, let me just go and play. And in my head, I'm like, oh, but I have all this other stuff to do, or this other stuff is happening. And my focus was elsewhere. But then when I'm there, obviously, like I love connecting to the people. I love all the friends and my teammates. And when I play the game, I'm in it. But then after that, I'm just like, okay, I get to go back now and I get to do these other things that are kind of exciting me a little more. And
Yeah.
so I've been trying to listen to that as well, to just be like, hey, it's okay for me to pick something up and put it down and then just go do something else and
Yeah.
see how that kind of teaches
Yeah.
me or inspires me in some way. And then maybe when I go back to pool, I'm like, I'm really fucking excited to play again because it's been so long and like, all right, let me get back into the swing of things. So,
Right. Yeah,
yeah,
for
so
sure.
we'll
And
see.
that circles right around to your jigsaw puzzle. You touch on different parts, and they're
Mhm.
all kind of growing you up in life. And yeah, and it's when there's time for it, and that's what you want. That's a good thing. And touching on all the different things is never going to hurt you anyway. It's like trying all your new stuff. Speaking of which, tracking has been coming up everywhere in my life. Like,
Tracking, like wildlife
yeah,
tracking?
yeah, just like
Yes.
animal tracking and signs and tracks, which I've always watched when I'm
Yes.
walking and hiking and stuff. I'm always watching for signs and stuff, but it's been popping up everywhere lately. So thank you for that. It's kind of fun.
Ooh,
Right?
okay,
We get,
awesome.
it's like you can cloud out your consciousness and just not have things you're aware of because you
Yeah.
just chose to ignore them. But
Mhm.
all of a sudden, a couple ticks and it's right back in your field of view. It's like a word you haven't ever heard before, and then you hear it once, and then you're guaranteed you're going to hear it again within a couple
Yeah.
days. And you'll be like, oh, there's that word again. It's like it's waking you up that there's a different
Yeah.
possibility and a different thing out there that you might be forgetting about.
Mhm.
And I think it is for most people. It's really easy to learn like the first 80% of something, like just to
Mhm.
dive into a subject like underwater basket weaving. Okay, cool. Let's figure it out.
Underwater.
You have to do it
That would be
underwater.
cool to see,
It
I'd
keeps
love
it
to see that.
pliable that way. It is.
Yeah. No,
but
it's true,
yeah,
depending when you're bending, yeah.
you need to beep that thing out, whatever that was. But no,
Yep.
seriously. So you can learn an awful lot about things, and this is like what I do for work too. You can learn like and music. Like somebody will go, oh, you're gonna sit in a gig with me, and we're gonna do these songs, and so I'll just listen to the songs. I never really go practice them or learn them. I just kind of hear them in my head, and that gives
Mhm.
me at least 80% of the song, and so off I go because I know I can handle it. And find some whole new subject of some new thing that you've never seen before. You just dive in with a willingness to learn, and all of a sudden, like, oh, okay, I get a bit of that. Now to get that 100%. That's that thing. Like to play pool to the 100%, to play guitar to the 100%. Like that's some mastery and dedication and pushing. That's what I make up, right?
Mhm.
But you never know. You never know.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of back to that so that book that I had brought up a while ago. I'm not sure if you remember, but it's Hunters in a Farmer's World or something like that. So again,
Yes.
the farmers are the ones that they love repetitive things. They love consistency. They can do the same thing over and over and over again. And it's like, great, they will be the ones that are the masters, but the hunters are the ones that are going out and exploring, seeing what's available, checking out different resources and gathering information to bring it back to the tribe, to bring it back to
and
their
improvising all the
circle or their
time. It's
mind.
yeah, it's all
Yeah.
improvisation. You're flowing by your instincts. You're using a
Mhm.
whole different half of your brain instead of the instincts of like farming and stuff is not instincts. It's just knowing when to do things right and doing them well. Right. That's
Mhm.
fascinating. It's a huge division in humans, but do you think all humans have that? They just choose one
Hmm.
side or the other, or use one more than the other?
Oh, so as far as choosing, I don't know that some people choose to be that way. I think that they're forced
Okay, they're
into a certain
reared to
spot.
be that way, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, I think so. When
Yeah.
we look at like society or even our school system in general, it's very like sit there, consume this information. And, it's just like a very blocky thing. And it does not diversify the material for all kinds of kids to learn, because you have like spatial learning or you have visual learning or auditory learning. But
Mm.
unfortunately, a lot of schools are not accommodating that for most of the people. Everybody learns differently. And, unfortunately, I think the education system is kind of failing like certain groups and stuff like that. And, we
Oh.
would probably benefit from a much more like bountiful society if we did diversify the learning and, um, yeah, focus it towards what the individual is
Yeah, and I
best at
think you
learning
train
at.
that hunt. Yeah, you train the hunter and you train the farmer. My
Yeah.
sister always wanted to do a school of just non-powered things like rolling
Mm.
pins, saws, hammers, just basic carpentry, just life things that you
Yeah.
do with no power, no nothing, just so you can understand the basics of tools. And then, the hunter thing, I think most pool players have to be hunters at least to some degree, because that's what you're doing. You're shooting a ball. It's just like taking a deer home for dinner. It's what we're doing. We're hunting, and that's why to me the cue ball's hard. The after the shot, because like I already shot my deer. I have dinner. What do you want?
Yeah, right.
It's a bad analogy, but a good one too at the same. And also the fact that however umpteen million years of evolution that brought us to here, we didn't shoot a small number of animals. And as hunters, we've always been very efficient. That's the reason we're here, because we ate. And so
Yeah.
pool is trivial compared to that. Like a deer in a blind and a bow that's a highly inaccurate instrument because it's handmade out of some, ash tree lip. It's like,
Yeah, those are
and
hard to make too.
still able to eat. Now you put a perfect light and a perfect pool cue and a perfectly round ball, and you better be able to shoot that thing where it comes.
I
Because
know, compared to that, yeah.
yeah, yeah. My
Oh my
buddy
god.
complains when he comes over. He's like, "I don't like your lights." I'm like, "Well, I'll turn them
You
off
like the
then. Let's just play in
lights?
the dark. It'd be the same. It doesn't matter." He's like, "You can't play in the dark. Let's just do it. I don't care."
You can get glow in the dark balls, like or like you can go paint them and then you can have like UV
Wow.
lights, like so if you wanna start business on that, I think we would
There you
like
go. Well,
it'd be
I
popping.
have a set of blacklight balls. I don't have my light set up now, but I have a set of blacklight balls, and I used to have blacklight
Yeah.
floodlights above the table, so you could turn it into Tron mode. And you put glow in
Yeah,
the
that's
dark tape
cool.
around the table, so everything's like glowing, and the balls are. It's really kind of fun.
Yeah.
Definitely a little different than pool, but it's fun.
That would totally be my setup. I'd have like a regular time, and then at night, it's like, "Oh, we're about to have fun." Let's
Playtime.
set the
That's great.
vibes. Yeah.
That's great. Playtime. Got to activate the hunter for
Yeah.
sure.
No, seriously. But I think it's great that, you're identifying the best way that you absorb information, that you learn, that you are, progressing in pool in a completely different way. You're identifying things within your body and your emotions. And with music, you realize like, yeah, I feel it, and when I play, again, to your point, like, yeah, as soon as it starts to feel like a drill, it becomes less authentic.
Yeah, it's
And
not
I think a
interesting.
lot of people need to just tap into that. Just do something for the joy of it. You don't have to
Mhm.
produce something. And I think
Yeah.
that's kind of like what the US unfortunately has is everything has to be like some type of production or you have to make money out of it or you got to do this. Like
It has to be
it's like we
big. Yeah.
can't yeah, it's like you can't just do it for the joy of it. And it's like, dude, live your life, have fun. Like, who cares if it's not perfect? It's not perfect for you, maybe, but it might be perfect for somebody else who would
Right.
have maybe no idea how to do something or
Right.
even like know how to build it or enact, whatever it is that you were doing. Like I've had to remind myself of that too, to just be like,
Uh,
this podcast, it's like, oh yeah, I want it to be great and this and that. I don't know. I make mistakes all the time. I stumble over my words. I say things. I cut people off randomly when we're talking. Like, I have a lot to learn, but I'm trying to have fun with it. It's just like,
Yeah,
oh, fuck it.
you're super intelligent and very interesting and good conversationalist, so I wouldn't worry about it because you're doing a great job. So it's fun.
No. Well,
And that's
thank
the nice
you.
thing, The that just was sparked on a thought there about pool versus music. So music and emotions. All musicians get emotional when they're playing. Well, no, that's not even a true statement. But some musicians get very emotional, and some are very repetitive. And I think it's that way in pool too. And in pool, you don't have a way to express your emotions, and that's why people get angry or that alpha
Mm.
thing. Whereas in music, you can become manic or horribly depressed because, like, if you write a sad song and then you have to perform it 100 times, you're just reactivating that emotion
That's
every time
sadness
you
every
perform it, right?
time.
So my other choice would be just recital. They just play these notes, which I never want to do, right? So it's
Yeah.
emotional. But in pool, I have to turn off my emotions or take them way down. And it's like, that's a very interesting thing because it is more the drill or just the repetition thing to keep the pool in there. I don't think I
Yeah.
really thought about that before.
Hmm.
It was weird.
Yeah. I mean that yeah, it's great. It's like now you're thinking new things.
New
That's what
thing.
we want, you know?
That's right. That's all we all want.
Right? And so, Steve, I mean, if anybody is ever looking to get into pool or to try a new thing, like, do you have any last words or tips or recommendations to give to any of the listeners?
Yeah. One of the best things that I've found are, silly enough, it's mantras. Just before you start something, giving yourself a positive affirmation or something to help ground you will pay off in droves all over in pool and your life. So, like in pool, like, okay, I'm just going to stay down and follow through. That's what you're thinking in your head. I'm just going to stay down and follow through. Like this is a book of mantras. It's Phil Capel.
Oh, 6 words to pool
Phil,
greatness.
yeah, I don't know if you can read it,
Oh,
but
wow, yeah.
it,
1,145 pearls of pool
they're
wisdom.
all 6-word wisdoms. Here, I'll just randomly pick one.
Yeah.
They're all 6 words. Planning is an art and a process.
Hmm.
It's just all fine pool requires a visionary approach. And so they're mantras. They're just little things that if you think that, like, that's what I typically do, like on the way to the pool hall when I'm getting ready for a tournament or whatever. I'm thinking just through these nice little affirmations. And I'm just putting myself in that mode where I've been before so many times to just kind of be calm, cool, and powerful. And I think you could do that in all things in your life. You sit down at work, like, all right, I think you said that. It was like 15-minute sprints or something like
Mm.
that. We were talking at lunch or something about sprints or time you keep it a focus on something. Right?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, you can hyper focus on something, and then you're like, "Alright, I gotta take a break and do something
Yeah, but you
else."
got to bounce too. But
Mhm.
but but just knowing 15-minute sprint is a really good mantra. So I
Mhm.
go into something and it's like something I'm not really interested in doing at work. I'm like, I got a good 15 minutes. Let's go.
Mhm.
Right. And that kind of thing, it's just the mantra 15 minutes, 15-minute sprint, or
Yeah.
stay down, follow through. Let's watch a pretty shot. Like all these little mantras. I kind of want to come up with an app that'll do it. Just randomly read you mantras that you've read into it. And it'll put them back in your ear. So you can just hear yourself all the time, giving yourself nice positive affirmation.
Yeah.
But that would be my advice is just don't take it so serious and give yourself some love. That's the right
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. No, and I hope a lot of people, like, take that in, especially when they're trying something new. Again, it's just like, yeah, I love a pretty shot, or let's see a pretty shot, what you
Mm-hmm.
just said, and it's just like, yeah, just try something.
Yep.
Make that your pretty shot. Like, I went and I did it, and this is what I learned out of it, or this is what I experienced. It's just like, just put
Yeah.
yourself out there.
And
Just
after,
try
even
it.
if you messed it up, just saying, "Wow, that was pretty cool. I wonder if I could do that better. I wonder how I would do that next time." Right?
Yeah.
Allowing it open for a continuous evolution because you close doors and doors stay closed. You're like, "Oh, I suck at bank shots." That's one of the things I do teach people all the time. You always hear them go, "I hate combos. I hate cut shots. I hate bank shots. Whatever." You're like,
Yeah.
whatever you like. I'm like, you can't say I hate them. You just have to say I love them. I don't know how to do them yet.
Mhm.
Right? There's a whole different context that allows your brain to open up and do it and to learn
Yeah.
something because you have to be wrong to learn. You can't be right and learn. If you're right all the time, you'll never learn a thing. You have to be uncomfortable and wrong, right? And that's kind of the whole basis of your entire podcast here, right? You have to explore. You have to be outside your box.
Yeah.
There's synchronicity and symbiosis between all of these things, but you have to push yourself into them and be uncomfortable with it, and then you'll
Yeah.
grow by leaps and bounds. So
Yeah. I love that. And it's really true. And, I've experienced that plenty of times in my life where, again, just even the words that you use can shape the outcome of whatever it is that you're trying to do, whether you're performing something or doing something. So saying, I
yeah.
hate this, it's like, you know, I don't prefer it, but I know that I can get better at it. Or let me see, like, why do I hate it? And
Right.
question
Ask that
that.
question. Right. Right.
Why? Why do I hate it? Well, it's hard. Well, why is it hard? Oh, because I don't understand this or I can't do this. And it's like, break it down,
Break
break
them
it
down.
down until you get to that root cause of
Yeah.
why
Get to
it
where you can
sucks.
ask a question and learn something, and then move forward. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
What they call those in psychology, they call them automatic negative thoughts, ants. Like, oh,
Mm.
I should be able to do this. I never can do this thing. Anytime you're doing all these generalizations, you're totally boxing yourself and keeping yourself
Yeah.
just grounded in a bad way. And it's, yeah, they're thoughts defined. Should and can't are just horrible words. They're
Oh
just
my
should be
gosh. And
stricken from
always
our
too.
dictionaries. What would be right?
Yeah. No, I think more people need to realize that. Like your words have power and that affects
Yeah,
your mind.
uh,
Yeah. Oh, well,
words
Steve,
have
thank you
power.
so much for
Yeah,
joining me on the podcast. This was so great to talk to you and catch up and talk pool and get in your brain. Love all that.
fabulous. Fabulous. Hope it didn't hurt you in the brain there, but I appreciate you doing this. Thanks for
Oh,
having me on.
yeah, of course. And for everybody listening, thank you so much again. And just check out the bio as well because Steve recommended, I believe you recommended some books, right?
Yeah, I got it.
On
Yeah.
pool.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, so if any of you are interested in diving in and learning a little more about pool, feel free to check it out. And then, yeah, just go to your local pool house, pool hall, whatever. It's the same thing. If you
Yep.
get into pool, it literally becomes your house. You're there all the time, all day. So in my head, it's like a pool house.
That's a good analogy. It's a pool house.
Yeah,
That's
right.
yep. Head out to the pool hall, play some pool with your friends. It's a great game, man, for sure.
Yeah,
For
it
sure.
is. All right. Well, thanks everybody. Have a good one.